did you know that when he's adding a friend and adding a tree, he actually, if the camera was here and he turns to his canvas, he has a reference painting off camera, a finished product of what he's painting. And so it comes across as, oh, well, let's just put in a path. But that's all intentional. He's planned that.
Well, I would have hoped so. I was a little concerned about that, to be perfectly honest, because I was going, I can't paint like that. I have to have a reference. And any artist you'll speak to will either have a photograph to reference from that they've probably taken themselves, and then you do your own, your little drawings, you know, your light and dark studies, and at least, you know, 3 grades of, you know, dark, medium, and light. So you have an idea of where your darks are, where your lights are, and, you know, is your tree going to go here? You don't want it in the middle. I mean, you have to balance this with that. I mean, you have to have some reference. Of course, I'm really bad about that because quite a lot of what I do, I just do out of my head, especially my very free watercolor pen and inks. I do the opposite. And I did a little video of, you know, trying to show people that technique, which is out there. And that's for real people who we were talking about earlier, people who have never painted or drawn at all, and kids and adults and anybody. I just like to show them a wet on wet watercolor technique, where the color just goes wherever, and then you stop and you wait till it's dry, and then you turn that piece of paper around, and whatever you see in it, you start drawing into it. And that's my fun technique to pass on to people. So I do that without a reference. But I did wonder how he did that. I'm happy to hear that he did have the finished painting there. It would have worried me otherwise.
Well, here's another little tidbit that I find really interesting. He did 13 paintings in a season, and he did 4 seasons a year. So there was a new show every single week. There were 4 shows a year. But he would tape an entire 13-week season in 4 days. And he would spend the other 12 weeks designing what those 13 paintings were going to be. So he'd go back to his cabin and he would do that design work and plan them. So when he walked into the studio, he brought 13 finished canvases, and in 4 days they would shoot the first one. Okay, next, shoot the second one.
But you see, that's how a professional in any field would do it. I mean, when we're acting, you know, I don't have, you know, the luxury of spending months and months thinking about the next scene that I'm playing. You know, I have to do all of my work, and then we come in and we don't film things in order. You know, the first shot might be the end of the movie. The first shot might be a love scene with someone I haven't even met yet. You know, I mean, you just never know. That's the nature of the beats. You know, you have to come in and you have to have already, at least in your own mind, have an idea of how your character is going to be. And some people write copious notes. Some people just have it in themselves to know what they want to do. You know, the same as when I'm designing a collection. When I design something, I spend a bunch of time designing, but then, you know, when it's all kind of executed and done, it's done pretty quickly.